now you can go.
All right, y'all, I thought I'd do a little updating on the propagation video. I want to thank everybody that's been buying the food for us in a box. I got a phone call the other day from my buddy Link in Big Sandy, asked me about propagating. I was going over a couple things. I thought I'd make a real quick little video here to kind of demonstrate what I was trying to say. The medium I recommend, well, any type of medium, but this Pro Mix, this organic Pro Mix works great. I think you can even get this at Wally World, so Walmart. And so what I do is just like I showed you before about putting the cutting in a medium. Everything I'm propagating here, these are mostly mulberries and figs because that's what I collect. We have an enormous amount of peach trees. We probably have over 50 peach trees, and I probably have over 20 pear trees. So what I'm propagating mulberries. I'm propagating mostly World's Best, which is a dwarf everbearing variety for tree hay and forage for our cows. And they start out as a cutting, then I up pot them into a little 1 gallon deal here, and then they keep stepping up, so that way I build up the root structure before I put them in the ground. So mostly what you see here are mulberries and figs, but what I wanted to talk to you about, controlling the moisture. You want to keep enough moisture. And then one things with mulberries are deceiving. All right, y'all, if you are watching this on December 25th, today we're going to be multi-streaming with Billy Bond at the Permaculture Pimpcast. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So I hope to see y'all there. Because many times with mulberries, the first growth you'll see is the top growth. And I got a couple questions about this. You don't want to disturb that. You want that to allow that to continue to grow. But mulberries will grow up before they'll root. But this, the green growth coming out the top also will help the rooting progress when it's in this infancy stage. So this is good, but you really want to encourage the bottom growth. And you can't get faked out by mulberries when you're seeing the top growth. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's rooted yet. So you'll see that a lot with mulberries. And I can show you over and over again. The other thing when it comes to moisture is you'll notice that cuttings desiccate. And even though I sealed this one with wax, sometimes you wrap them, whatever. But even though they're desiccating, when they get down to the soil level, they still look great. And how I determine my moisture level is you feel the pot when you initially put it in there, and it's incredibly light if it's got a good medium in it. And then you fully saturate it, you feel that weight, and then how I determine when I weigh it again is I just pick it up. And if you're doing multiple cuttings, you can feel each one. Some will evaporate quicker than others, so you just test it by feeling the pot. And when you have new cuttings, how you'll watch it, these ones just went in on the 7th. So these ones just went in on the 7th, and these were completely dormant, and now you'll see that the bud's starting to break. From my experience, once the bud starts to break and you start to see some growth, you'll also notice that the cutting itself will stop desiccating. So this cutting hasn't desiccated or dried out at all. But even if the cutting desiccates to the soil surface, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that the cutting's bad. That doesn't mean that the cutting dried out and is dead. Because I will show you, here's a fig cutting. These went back in. These went in about a month ago. And if you look in there, you can see that top bud getting ready to break. So there's a very good likelihood that these have started to root. I want to show you a couple examples of, now this is a white Pakistani mulberry, and for whatever reason, this cutting desiccated all the way down to the second bud. You'll see a little bit of fungus growing on the top. So this part's smoked, and that's okay, because once you get down into the pot, you'll see that the cutting's still green. You'll see that it's throwing you that top bud there. So just because part of the cutting desiccates and is smoked, and even might have a little bit of mold growing on it, that doesn't mean anything as long as you're taking care of the rest of it. Here's another example. This is another white pack, so maybe this is what white packs like to do. But you'll see that the cutting desiccated down to the top bud, but the top bud broke. So that means that this thing is doing its thing. This one has been in soil since 10/17. So, and they take their time, and sometimes they root faster, sometimes they root slower. You just got to be patient, and you got to keep them in the optimum conditions. We've had an incredibly mild winter. I'm probably going to put some 40-gallon buckets of water, barrels of water in here, and paint them black as like a heat sink. I think if I do that with like 4 or 5 and I just put them around here, I might not even have to take these out. I might take these out. If it gets below freezing for more than 2 or 3 days in a row, I'm going to want to take this stuff out of here and take it inside. I don't preferably want to do that. So if you're rooting cuttings, you don't want your cuttings to go below freezing. Definitely not more than a night. If they're more established, they can handle more. But I just wanted you to keep in mind about the soil. You just kind of want to feel. You want to feel the pot, and if it's light and it feels like it needs water, it probably does. Don't freak out if your cutting starts to dry out from the top. It doesn't mean anything. If you look at it at the soil level and it's still green, that means it's still doing its thing. It's still growing. A lot of times with other cuttings like the I got them right here, like figs or the pears or the peaches, what you'll notice, this was a completely dormant cutting, and I wrapped it to top, and see how the bud is breaking?
Tip it a little bit more.
See how the bud's breaking? Right there. That was started rooting on 10/23. That's a green Isha. This is a strawberry emerald. So this was put in the pot on 11/24, so an entire month later, and you can see that that bud is breaking, and these just started showing signs of growth like about a week ago. So you got to be patient. You got to take your time. You got to let God's creation do what God created it to do. So I hope this makes sense. Put any questions you have down below. I want to thank everybody for purchasing the Food Forest in the Box and the other cuttings. They're still flying off the shelves. We still have a decent stock. So if you're interested, check it out. Plant your own food 401k, get you some dirt, start doing all the things it's so fulfilling and enjoyable. There's something about living a slower, intentional life. There's something incredible not having any type of agricultural background and kind of growing up in a white trash trailer park neighborhood and everything. No offense to white trash or trailer parks or anything. Hi, no. But there's something so incredible about just tending to these plants, and I'm gonna replace this, replace my label there. But there's something about just caring for and propagating and doing these artisan type agrarian functions that is very fulfilling, rewarding, and mentally healthy. And you can ask anybody, but you can't explain it until you experience it, which is why I encourage you to take that first step and do all the things. That's why we have this channel. We want to encourage you, and hope you all have a great day. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.